How's it going, folks? Stu here. It's the end of January, folks. That was a long one. Anyone want to talk about the fact that was the longest month of all time? No, we'll move on. Does mean one thing and one thing only, though, here on the channel, and that is that it's time for my best of 2021 list. That's right, mother flippers. I know what you're saying. You're saying, Stu, why are you so late every year? Maybe I'm not the one that's late, huh, Kevin? Maybe everyone else is too early. Maybe everyone else is too eager. Okay? You know, you don't turn up to the party when the host says turn up to the party. You turn up fashionably late, far too drunk, and you annoy everyone. Yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing here. So grab yourself a beverage, tea, coffee, booze, and kick back or forward as we go through my favourite films of 2021. That's right, 2021. Could someone tell it to stop looking at my butt? Because it's well and truly behind us. Fuck. I feel like I always need to explain why these best of lists always come a little bit later on my channel than other people's. And it's because of UK release dates. Let's cut the bullshit. They suck. We're always getting great films from the rest of the year just at the beginning of January the next year, and it's so annoying. So I always give myself that extra month in January to catch up on films that I feel like might deserve a place in the best of the year list. Before we get started good and proper though, why don't you click subscribe and like? Helps me out. You can imagine why, but also means that you get to see more of this face on your screen, which is maybe a good thing. And if not, just don't do it. But also down there is a link to my letterbox, which is where I log all my films and which is where I have a much bigger, broader ranking of every film I caught from 2021, if you're interested in seeing that. But today we're going through the 10 best films of 2021, which I'll be honest, was quite a competitive race throughout most of the year. I mean, the back end of 2021 was absolutely stacked, so I feel like the last few months have been like just shifting around my placement of my top 10. But currently, as of right now, this is where my top 10 stands. There are full reviews down there in the description for any of the films that I have done full reviews for, because I'm just handy like that, you know? I'm good to you. I'm good to you. Don't say I'm not. But I think on that note, it's time to bloody kick things off with number 10 on my best films of 2021. I am just riddled with anxiety at the suspense here, even though I know what it is. This is tense stuff. Number 10 is Palm Springs, which I'll be honest, wasn't in my top 10 until I rewatched it this past week, so that's a late addition. And before any smart asses say, yes, I know this film came out in like 2020 in America, right? But it took way too long to come out here in the UK. It's firmly a 2021 UK release, all right? We'll leave it at that. I'm still fucking bitter about it. Look, Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti, I want to watch them do everything forever. They've got great chemistry. They're genuinely fun people to watch on screen together. And watching them go through that whole kind of Groundhog Day time loopy-whoopy stuff was a lot of fun. I'm a sucker for a great rom-com that's got something interesting to it, and Palm Springs definitely ticks that box. And now after rewatch, it's now confidently becoming one of my favorite sort of comfort watches at the moment. Plus, watching J.K. Simmons and Andy Samberg do coke in a fucking bathtub is just worth putting this film in the top 10 of the year. Number 9 is a film which I am kind of confident that will probably go up in my rankings on rewatches, but as it stands right now, I've only seen it the one time, and it's comfortably sitting at number 9. It's David Lowery's The Green Knight. I was so excited for this one after David Lowery's incredible masterpiece that is Ghost Story. And then over here in the UK, like 2 weeks before they were meant to release it in cinemas, they were just like, hey, you know what? We're just not doing that. And we're not going to give you any update. It's just not coming out in cinemas. And I shat my pants on the spot, and for about a month there, was devastated. Until they were like, Amazon's getting it, but you can have it in the cinema for like a week or two. And I got out there, and I watched this thing on the big screen, and it is just gorgeous. It was never going to not do this because it's David Lowery, but I love the way that it doesn't sort of spoon feed you through this. There's a lot that's open to interpretation, which is probably why a lot of people didn't click with it. But also, you're wrong. It's wonderful. I love it. And Dev Patel is the sexiest that man's ever been in this film. And that's an objective fact. There's only one thing really that's holding it back, in my opinion, and that is Alicia Vikander's accent. I think at some point we're all gonna have to address that was a thing that happened and wasn't great. But I'll tell you what was great. Number 8 on my list. I bet you didn't see that one coming, did you? Spencer is the new Pablo Larraín film about the iconic British institution that is Marks and Spencer's. It was like that McDonald's one, but with... No, it's a Diana film. You know that. Kristen Stewart delivers probably one of her best performances. The cinematography was delicious. Pablo Larraín has this really sort of nightmarish quality to the way he approaches biopic stories. We saw it with Jackie, and it's definitely present here, but I loved seeing it work through the monarchy and the royal institution here with someone at the center of it like Diana. It also has an insanely good score from Johnny Greenwood, who has been having a wonderful year for scores. So that's something as well. I feel like I could do a whole video on like my top 10 best fucking Johnny Greenwood 2021 scores. He's been doing that many. Up at number 7 is a film which landed in my best of the year list very early on in 2021 and hasn't fallen out of it. It's that good. That film is Minari, which is just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful film. I don't know how many times I can say the word wonderful. Have it one more time. It's wonderful. Lee Isaac Chung's family drama about a Korean family that moved to America in the 50s and try and make something for themselves on the land over here. It's just everything I like about family dramas, right? The cast are all working wonders here, but Yoo Jung-yeon fucking just is everything I love about this film. On rewatch as well, all of her scenes are just melt me. Number 5 though goes to The Tragedy of Macbeth, which is the new Coen brother singular film. It's not both of them. Wild scenes. And I was impressed mostly by the fact that it's just immediately captivated me, even though we've seen Macbeth done a lot on stage and film before. I think that's a testament to how great it is in its vision, that it does just immediately feel worthwhile. Like, yes, it makes sense that you do this like this, and I'm here for it. Gorgeous looking film, that kind of German expressionist take on it is black and white, like apparently basically 3/4 of the films in 2021 were. But it lends itself perfectly to this story. Denzel's amazing. Francis is amazing. The whole cast are on top form. Vividly remember coming out of that screening at London Film Festival and just being like, damn, rummaging around on the floor for my socks because they got knocked off. Number 5 is everyone's favorite fun family film, Titan, which is none of those things. It's fucking nuts. But Julia Ducournau is just one of those filmmakers that has her own very particular, very defined corner of cinema, and she's just fucking whipping in it. She's just doing her own thing, and I'm just here for the ride. We've come to expect a certain shocking element to her films with Raw and now this, but I was surprised mostly by just how poignant this one was. I ended up finding this quite moving in the end, and the story it ends up telling, it's not the story that I expected it to tell when I started the film, but I'm very happy that it did end up telling it. And Agathe Roussel, I mean, Jesus, what a performance. It's criminal that she's not getting discussed more in the best actor performances of the year. She crushed it. Fully loved Titan, very excited to watch it again, but also conscious that I need to find the right headspace to want to watch it again, because it's a lot. It is a lot, but I'll tell you what else is a lot. Number 4 on my list. I'll be the first to admit I could have done a lot better with that transition. Number 4 is a new one from a filmmaker I adore, and I was very excited, and it did not let me down. That is Red Rocket from Sean Baker. This is probably one of the most fun cinematic experiences I've had in 2021. Just a hoot from beginning to end. An amazing film with an amazing central performance from Simon Rex, who I'm just loving that he's having some kind of moment in the spotlight at this point. I've always been a fan of Simon Rex, which sounds weird to say because he's only ever really done like parody rap and the scary movie films. I like to think that I've always known he had something like this in him, and I'm just happy that Sean Baker's given him a platform to just crush it. Just a super fun character study looking at an incredibly flawed, difficult, troubled, but entirely engaging person. I'm surprised this has avoided any of the sort of Twitter discourse and controversies that a lot of other films have had this year, but I'm happy that it's not getting dragged, because you'd be wrong. Also, wonderful use of NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye, which immediately gets some kind of marks in my book. But my babies, we're now in the home stretch, right? This is the good stuff. This is the real creme de la creme of the year. We're in the top 3, and much like Simba and the Lion King, I just can't wait to be in the top 3. Fucking what am I talking about? Number 3 is a film which I was cautiously optimistic for, not because I thought it was going to be bad, but because it's from a filmmaker I absolutely adore. And I think with films from filmmakers you absolutely adore, there's always that feeling like, is this going to be the one where they slip? Like, I don't want that, but is this going to be the one where they slip? He didn't slip. It's PTA's latest film, Licorice Pizza, which has been getting a lot of controversy online. I'm not going to address that because that discourse was not for me. Let's put it that way. Look, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but some people's opinions are wrong. Licorice Pizza, dude, fucking whipped. I mean, it was awesome. It was a wonderful, just laid back coming of age tale. Just so good to see Paul Thomas Anderson just sort of like take it easy for a bit, just relax and just give us this anecdotal sort of strange odyssey through 70s LA through the lens of this coming of age story between characters that should not be together but can't help but want to spend time together. I think PTA knows exactly what he's doing with these characters, and I think there's a lot of really rich subtext in there which helps build these very complex characters, which shouldn't be a surprise because that's literally what he's been doing for his entire career. I was fully fucking on board for this film. I just love that sort of feeling like you're watching a film that might as well be someone chatting to you at a bar telling you all these stories, right? Which is probably a negative for a lot of people, but I love that anecdotal feeling where it's just going from one thing to the next, aimlessly going through. That's exactly what I want from a coming-of-age film. Should we get to number 2? I think we ruddy well should. Number 2 on my list is a film which I absolutely adore and is the most rewatched film on this list for me. You can probably guess what it is because I haven't shut up about it online since I've seen it. I did a whole bloody essay about it. It's Leos Carax and Sparks' latest film, Annette. Annette is objectively amazing. I don't want to hear, oh, film's subjective. Yeah, all right. But this isn't, if you didn't think Annette was amazing, fuck you. I'm of course joking, but only kind of, right? That's weird. Annette is so good. The music, the absurdity of the whole thing, everything that Leos Carax does from a creative directing decision standpoint is nuts, and I love it. It's got to the point where this film is so ingrained in my mind that I'll just quote things and I'll forget that, like, it's kind of, I guess, a niche. Like, not a lot of people saw Annette, really, so they must think I'm nuts. Often I'll walk into a room of people and be like, it's tickle time. On that note, though, Adam Driver is so good in Annette. I can't believe more people aren't regularly singing that guy's praises. He crushes this film. But the best thing about Annette is that I haven't got bored of it, and I've watched it like 7 times at this point. And every time I rewatch Annette, there are new details to pick up on. It is perpetually rewatchable as a film. It's a problem. I love it. I'm gonna have to cut this gushing short. I've got a full review and a full video essay on the channel if you want to see more thoughts on Annette. Number 2 of the year, fucking 100%. The only reason it's not number 1 is because my next film on the list, my number 1 film of 2021, just is everything I want from a cinema trip. It was the best cinema experience I've had of 2021. But it's time for some honourable mentions. I fucking got you. Reel you in, huh? And then just, I mean, you can skip forward if you want to, but stick around for the honourable mentions, guys. Sound of Metal, Darius Marder's wonderful film about a drummer that loses his hearing. Wonderful performance from Riz Ahmed. Just fucking sublime. Come On, the new one from Mike Mills. Just a wonderful look at an uncle and his nephew spending time together. Just wholly charming. Made me cry a lot. The Power of the Dog, Jane Campion's new one. I'll be honest, I do think this will probably creep into the top 10 later on in the year whenever I end up rewatching it because I just thought it was sublime. Dune only got better on rewatch. Astonishing to watch on IMAX. Just an amazing achievement in visual effects, in big spectacle filmmaking. Denis Villeneuve doesn't miss. Whole cast on point. Cannot wait for the second one. Malignant, another film which just amazing stuff. James Wan operating on a god tier genre level. I don't care if you thought it was dumb and silly. I mean, you might not even be wrong. It's just incredible. And The Matrix Resurrections, a big, silly, over-the-top, balls-to-the-wall fuck you from Lana Wachowski that half the internet are wrong about. And just like that, honourable mentions are out of here, and it's time for my number 1 favourite film of 2021. You may be able to guess it at this point, but if you can't, you're in luck. I'm about to confirm it for you. Memoria, the new film from a Pitchakpong Wirasutukul, is just astonishing. I was completely blown away by this film when I saw it, and I still think about it regularly. That's what, like, almost 4 months? It feels like walking around a gallery of paintings, of frames, and studying them. It gives you the time to sort of study what you're seeing on screen, which is not how everyone wants to watch films, so it's not going to be for everyone. But I found to be an incredibly satisfying and rewarding watch. I mean, just going with this thing, watching... Oh! Tilda, there we go. There was a reason I was wearing that underneath all along. Watching Tilda Swinton go on this journey as she just tries to discover a sound she keeps hearing, it is insanely captivating. This was the only film this year in 2021 that I immediately gave full marks to, the full 10 out of 10. I knew it. I just knew that there was nothing wrong with this film for me. And I'm entirely aware that saying that is going to create expectations for people that arguably are going to be impossible to meet. But it's just how I fucking felt, guys. But that brings us to the end of my top 10 films of 2021. What an insanely good year for film. I say it every year as if I'm surprised that great filmmakers continue to make great work. I will say so great this year versus 2020 to be able to see so many more of these in the cinema. But even though I can sit here and say this is objectively the correct list, I'm sure some of you are going to have different opinions, maybe. Although you're wrong, but maybe you will. Let me know down there what your favorite films of the year were, and we'll have a little chat. I appreciate I'm a little late to the party here, all right? But things haven't wrapped up yet. Okay, the night's still young. We can chat in the kitchen for a bit over a joint. Let me know your top 10 of 2021 down there. And while you're down there, why not hit subscribe? Give me a like. I've just noticed I had a nice 2021 graphic. How long has that not been there for? See you guys soon for some more thoughts on more films. But until next time, Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton.